Rap News Street Politics, the best hood channel on YouTube, and we back on the west side of South Central with the Hoover RICO indictment. Now we only 5 months down the line from when the 6-0s got wrapped up in the RICO and the feds stayed in the city and came over to FIG, taking down 11 people where they got some nasty allegations. And I gotta say, I gotta give a warning to y'all that's listening. It's gonna be some raw details with what the feds are alleging these defendants have done. Now again, everything is just allegations. They innocent until proven guilty. But you already know how the feds is coming, man. They've done their homework and they really started it by piecing together everything about the Hoovers. Now, you know, we got some high profile names on this case. Y'all know we got Lady Duck as the lead defendant on this case. And a lot of people ask, how's the only female on this case the lead defendant? For y'all that's in the city, y'all done heard her name before. Y'all may know her.
Hey, bro, this shit way worse than we thought. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah.
You already know Lady Duck is not playing. She was already sitting down on the state case for 30 flocks and had a release date, and now the feds have put the squeeze on her and they finna take everybody down to MDC. And just to give y'all an idea of what Lady Duck got going on in this indictment, the feds got somebody on tap trying to sell Lady Duck a female for a rack. And if Lady Duck didn't want her, they said they was gonna sell her organs across the border. Lady Duck replied, what she look like? So that's the type of role they allege Lady Duck is playing in this indictment. But not only is Lady Duck on here, y'all know we got P4k out the Baby Stone Gorillas from BPS. Everything they was saying about dude, the feds are alleging that him and pretty much everybody else was involved in some nasty activity on FIG. Now with the RICO, you know they saying that the Hoovers are an enterprise, a full organization that's run.
Hold on, bro. We ain't just finna skip and gloss over that. You telling me somebody contacted her, told her, hey, I got this little, you know what I mean, for you. If you don't want her, we finna go cut her open for her organs? Oh yeah, she was tied in with the tail, bro. Hell, that's cartel talk. This shit ain't good, Doug. Fuck.
And a monopoly on the west side of South Central. And as the feds put it, they are operating from 4-tray to the one-way. But not only do they got the RICO charge, they got the sex trafficking of the minors by force, fraud, or coercion, transportation of a minor, sexual exploitation of a minor. They got drug trafficking, money laundering, and they got the firearm purchases stacked up against these dudes. But overall, it's 24 victims, with 8 of them being minors. And what I've seen is ranging from ages 14 to 17. Some crazy work that's being alleged in this indictment. But this whole situation started off in February 2021 and ended last week, August 7th, 2025, where they unsealed this indictment and turned the heat up on everybody. Now, February 9th, 2021, Lady Duck was caught with 9 racks, some fake pills that had that fentanyl in it, and a scale for distribution. This is the starting point where everything—
Hell no, bro. She had fatty set. Hell no, this shit ain't good, Doug.
Everything started to go left. And this is when the feds started to fully build their case on the Hoovers as a whole. Not just the pimping. They pretty much got everything except for murders in this indictment surrounding the Hoovers. They've been studying their rivals. Of course, they well-known rivals and allies. Those facts are pretty well publicized in the streets and, of course, on the internet. But the feds are alleging that the Hoovers got about 1,800 active members right now. And they had 3 main strongholds in this operation. 2 of them being motels, one of them the Stadium Inn, and the other one the 110 Motel, with the Stadium Inn being on Vermont and the 110 Motel being off Florence. And the feds are also alleging that the House of Hotties off FIG, that little female clothing store, was one of the key pieces in helping strengthen the enterprise of the Hoovers. Now, the feds said they were studying the Hoovers for a long time, and they seen even if the Hoovers is having internal—
The House of Hotties, bro. You hear this shit?
Internal conflict between one of their sets. They noticed that when it was time to put in work, all the sets was coming together for Hoover. And this is what they using to prove that they running a full-fledged enterprise. And they also dug deep into how people was getting put on and who exactly was getting walked on because of their family ties into the Hoovers. Now, this is being labeled as a complex case because it has more than 8 defendants. It got 11 total. Well, like we said, Lady Duck, P4k, Vermont Star, Tiny 3, Folo, J Money, Young Pope, and a few other dudes who are either associates or members of one of the Hoover sets in LA. And Vermont Star is the same dude that we spoke on in our Swan video, the dude that just robbed Day 3 homie of his chains. And Tiny 3 is King off Manchester, another rapper coming out the Hoovers.
Doing heads, pulling skits, nigga better keep a tool on him. 10 bands for a headshot and we gon' stand on. My cousin Wooty whoopin' Wooty wham, nigga, land on me. Fuck said trophy, nigga, long live the dead homie, man.
Now, a thing that we gotta stress, like we said, Young Pope, P4k, we gotta let y'all know, these charges and allegations we finna go through is nothing to play with, and they only pertain to the people that we talking about in this indictment. Just because you see Young Poke name, this ain't got nothing to do with the Poke that we know that's doing this entertainment shit. With P4k, this got nothing to do with the Baby Stone Gorillas. Like I said, these charges are nothing to play with, so let's not get silly with the internet shit.
See, bruh, you put a stain on the whole name with that shit, bruh. You know what I'm talking about? And no, nigga, what they signed y'all a bad deal?
Just because you see some familiar names in this indictment. But what's being said is that all these defendants helped each other in one way or another in this human trafficking ring. Whether it was with the minors or the adults, everybody played a hand in keeping the grip on the operation. And everybody knows Fig, and we know what hood is on Fig. It said that to operate on Fig, you have to be in good standing with the Hoovers. And they also alleged that some people was paying taxes to play ball on Fig with some of the feet out there. But overall, that fear factor is what the feds are using to glue the Hoovers to a whole enterprise, resulting in this RICO. And the key thing that y'all gotta realize is the same shit every time. Instagram. Not only are these dudes using these music videos, but they using Instagram to prove the allegations in these indictments. The guns and the drugs are being shown on Instagram, shown in the music videos, and along with the weapon seizures and the seizure of the drugs, the feds are saying that the Hoovers are using this and keeping drugs and weapons around to protect their assets in these 2 motels and the clothing store. And they said it was also using the clothing store and the motels as stash spots for guns and drugs. And even though dudes like P4k is not from Hoover, they were still involving themselves in Hoover politics and in the Hoover enterprise.
So if they know they was doing all that at the with the Hotties damn store, then why the Hotties ain't, they probably done got wrapped up in this shit too, bro.
BPS is not mentioned once other than as an ally of Hoover in this indictment. But overall, the feds are alleging 441 overt acts that they using against all 11 of these defendants. So overt acts are going to be specific crimes and elements that the feds use as probable cause to set forth the indictment. And again, there's 441 different acts or crimes that were committed. Now, the feds start off by saying most of these defendants was branding their names, tattooing their names on these victims. Some adults and some minors, with Lady Duck having her name on 4 people, Hands having his name on at least 2 people. Folo, aka Figure Four, also had his name on at least 3 people. Info had his name tatted on a 17-year-old girl on her face. And Vermont Star had his name tatted on a 17-year-old girl on her neck. Now with Lady Duck, the feds say she is a hood trophy. They got this in the indictment, say she's one of the lifelines of the set. And they got J Money on the conversation telling somebody that Lady Duck has been holding the set down money-wise for a long time. And it was time for him to start increasing his profits in the streets for the hood. So situations like these is why Lady Duck is seen as the lead defendant in this case. Like I said, she was already down for 30 flocks in 3 different...
Yeah, that's what's crazy, bro. She was already down for 30 flocks. So they hit her with this while she was down. She probably was in that like, what?
different counties and was in custody since July of last year. But they got her on tape beating multiple females, and there was that one tape that came out in the store where she was seen beating that pregnant female where she...
Bitch, say sorry, bitch, for this and the shit.
But right before she went down for them flocks, April 26, 2024, she's seen at that Stadium Inn with a 14...
She said, say sorry for dissing the set. It's like, what? She pregnant, bruh.
14-year-old girl. Now, her and J Money both had hands in lacing this 14-year-old girl up, but she was the main person in dealing with this little girl. And the crazy part is, dudes was actually out here dealing with little girls. At one point, they said this girl had $200 at 2 a.m. And by 4 p.m. the next day, she had $1,500, bringing it straight to Lady Duck. And it got so crazy where the little girl's family ended up finding her at Stadium Inn, and Lady Duck told one of her homies that she's starting to look like a child predator out here dealing with this little girl. Now, like I said, J Money was with her, and all these dudes was around this situation with a 14-year-old girl outside. But like I said, Lady Duck extremely active in this section. When they needed burners, they was calling Lady Duck. She was caught on a phone call with an undercover space circulating, and she replied that Hoover won his head. And one of the main people she was dealing with was P4k. Now, you know, P4k to the internet, he made a cold turn to the pimping as soon as the rapping started to slow down. Everybody saw it. The Baby Stones stopped producing music at the rate that they was producing it at, and P4k really took on this whole pimping moniker. And the feds started to use his rapping with glorifying the pimping and the gangbanging to build this case against him. But this dude was out here leveraging his rapping career, telling females that they could go on tour with him if they hit the blade for him. But on January 1st, 2023, it's like this nigga made the New Year's resolution to get pimping because the feds got him posting an ad for females to apply to his pimping and saying, all applicants must be obedient. Again, all of this done on social media, Instagram. Now, after that ad in January 2023, July 2023, P4k with a 16-year-old.
All applicants must be obedient. Then he tell them they can go on tour with him, bruh. If they was smart, they would have just looked at the YouTube and seen he wasn't even dropping music no more.
Female. And not only was he trafficking her, the feds alleged that he was also having an intimate relationship with this 16-year-old girl as well in 2023. And like I said, he was seen with many Hoovers, but he was in deep communication with Lady Duck. At one point in the audio recording in the Instagram message, P4k stated to Lady Duck that he pimps minors over the age of 16 and under the age of 18. He admitted it out of his own mouth in his own audio recording, allegedly. So all the bad shit people were saying about P4k, you know, when you had them charges, that's one thing. But now when you get this paperwork, it's a whole nother ball game when you got the discovery on somebody. It's not looking good for this dude, and it's not looking good for any of these defendants. They all look like the bad people. And we seen a clip of Smack from back on Fig speaking about the child trafficking on Fig.
What is we gonna do about the prostitution out there and these kids walking Figueroa?
So,
your kids gotta go to school and see this.
So let me just tell you, that's an issue that when we started in the 90s, we were dealing with as well. The difference is that the women...
That's all the way from the 90s, bro. I respect Smack for posing the question, though, to the mayor, like, see this shit? These kids out there, though.
There were women that were on the streets then. Now they're girls that are on the street.
Babies.
Almost across the board, the girls are from the foster care system.
And you know, some people look at it in a way as if Smack was telling on the Hoovers, anything like that. My thing is, these is the bad people. Everybody in this case dealing with minors is bad. There's no way around it, no way to cut it. I feel like he spoke on what he had to speak on, not necessarily implementing any of his homies, but shining the light on these members dealing with little kids. So Lady Duck, after she had that 14-year-old girl, May 2024, they got her on a phone call with Info talking about the hood is hot right now, and he's specifically hot, and that they come into the hood to pick up these minors off the blade. And everything was well known and publicized between these members from Hoover. Now that is crazy. So Info, again, Naziz Harris, a flagrant offender in this case. He had a 17-year-old girl earlier this year in January 2025 working for him. P4k ended up knocking the 17-year-old girl and taking her back to Harris, and both of them made the female choose. The female ended up choosing P4k, and Info basically asked P4k if he can punch on the female, the 17-year-old girl, as an exit fee. P4k allowed him to punch on the girl and took the female to Fig. Now, of course, shortly after she hit Fig, she went back to Info and left P4k and got back down on the blade for Info.
Man, what in the mental gymnastics y'all got going on? Boy, so what? This some crazy shit, bro. Y'all was out there thinking y'all was in a real pimp movie. This shit ain't good, fool.
P4k ends up pulling back up on her, and that's where we see him beating on that female on the blade. That was a little girl. And of course, the feds seen that, and they also are alleging that that video was a scare tactic that P4k intentionally put on the internet to show his other females that they need to be obedient to his pimping.
Oh shit.
Hey, don't put me on no camera. Nigga, I'm coming hard about mine.
Yeah. They just went up.
Hard about my bitch, nigga. Play with my bitch again, nigga. My bad.
Now, the feds allege that all these dudes was targeting females that was, of course, in foster care, runaways, and females that just grew up around the blade and somewhat close to the lifestyle. And of course, they know they was dealing with minors, so they was providing fake IDs, and some kidnapping was involved. Now, like I said with Info, Naziz Harris, he was told multiple times by his homies that dealing with minors was dangerous. But again, not only was he trafficking these females, he's also beating on them. He was going around the hood telling people how the minors is snitching on him about him pistol whipping them. But he had another 17-year-old girl around that same time where P4k had knocked him for the other minor. And the feds are alleging that he was producing explicit content with this little girl, along with beating on her and getting her hooked on pills.
We ain't finna just skip over that, though. P4 talking about, nigga, I don't play about my bitch. It's like blood out there all back. This ain't good, bruh.
And what blew this dude up, he take this little girl across country, end up getting stopped, and the folks find this pistol. He tells this 17-year-old girl to take the charge for him. And of course, she snitches on him in Nebraska. Nebraska put out the human trafficking of a minor charge on him, and he goes down in March 2025. And after that, they still have him pimping over the jail phone to his feet back in California. But somebody he was in heavy communication with was Young Poke. Now, Young Poke is probably the worst person in this indictment in terms of allegations. Young Poke, real name Keandre Young. He started off with the 15-year-old girl, and then the feds allege that he starts having an intimate relationship with the 15-year-old girl, and then they uncover, again, explicit content between Young Poke and this little girl. Multiple pieces of content, though. Then he goes ahead and secures a 17-year-old girl and whoops her feet in front of everybody. And this is when his other little females, his adult females, are approaching him about dealing with minors. And he goes on to berate them about how the minors are bringing in more paper than them. And then after all of that, he gets another 15-year-old girl. And this dude had the nerve to tell Info that dealing with minors was dangerous. And at one point, he threatened a 17-year-old girl with Lady Poke, saying he was going to have Lady Poke pull up and put them hands on her. But when the female tried to leave him, he goes on, ends up...
Yeah, this was some diabolical shit. He started flashing on the OG prosties like, yeah, my little young prosty's making way more than you. This shit crazy, bruh. I've heard enough. I ain't gonna shout out Rap News Street Politics. Yeah, bro, this what? Like, this shit diabolical, bro. We got organ harvesting. What I'm talking about, we got public humiliation rituals, ping pong going on back with the little girls and shit like that, bro. They thought they was an American pimp, bro. They did, bro. They thought they was Pimp Snooky, bro. This shit, bro, this some diabolical work, to say the least, bro. I had no idea. I'm not gonna sit here and back to you. Yeah, man, I mean, you know, Man, this shit ain't looking good. Lady Doug, you know what I'm talking about? She already was up against it. Well, I think she had went through the processes with that other case with the 30 flocks or whatever. Because, you know what I'm saying? He said she had a release date. But now you got this shit, bro, up over your head. This some criminal mob organization type shit. Wires on the phone, hella shit. She calling back to the hood, bro. Talking about some nigga, they on you. You might as well skip town. Whole time they on her. This shit crazy, bro. Yeah, y'all niggas let me know what y'all think. We on to the next one, though.
Say ho, you can't be playing with that paper, ho. Nigga need that yaper, need it now and not later, ho. Say ho, you can't be playing with that paper, ho. Nigga need that yaper, need it now and not later, ho. Say ho, you can't be playing with that paper, ho. Nigga need that yaper.